I read 11 books in May. My reading game is on fire, and I DNF'd another 4. But we'll focus on the 11, and I'm going to tell you what I thought with a yes, no, maybe. This one, Blood and Salt, yes. 5 stars, loved it, which is not something I thought I would be saying about a book that is vampires on the Titanic. Honestly, yeah. So 2 people are trying to rob the Titanic before it sets sail while everybody else is boarding, and they find a coffin in which is a mummy with a stake in its chest, and they decide to pull it out. And they don't go on for much further than that. Very good, loved it. You need to check this one out. Next up was one I almost got in my Illumicrate subscription when I still had it, but I didn't. Bat Eater, yes, I'll say yes. The first half of this book I was close to DNFing, and then it really kicked in. So I figured, well, we'll stick with it. And the ending was actually quite good. It's set in the pandemic, and it's both the supernatural thing with hungry ghosts, which is an interesting part of culture, and dealing with the racism that went on in the pandemic towards Chinese people. So it's a better second half than the first, so it's just a yes for me. The Last Passenger, maybe to yes. I've had this book for about 3 years. I haven't read it, and I just picked it up my Kindle one day and thought, I'll read this. You have our main character who is on board a luxury cruise liner heading to the States, and she goes to sleep, and when she wakes up the next day, the whole ship is empty. No crew, no passengers, nothing, all gone. The ending was awful. I mean, the twist made me think, really? Really? But then you kind of get into it. But the ending was the stupidest ending I've ever read and really ruined the end of the book. So that's why, that's why this is a maybe. No. And I say that with as much love as I can muster because I adore Caleb. I love Clarkson's Farm. I think he is an inspiration to younger people, and how hard he works is an inspiration. And I just love everything about Caleb and the show. But everything he tries to do on his own is so cringy, it's almost uncomfortable. His live tour on Amazon I watched, it was so painful to watch. And this book is much more of the same. Although there is a chapter on parenting that I really resonated with me. The rest of the book is just a cringe fest. So I'm afraid, no. The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. Yes, God, yes. This was so good. So very good. It is one of the first fantasies that has gripped me in a long time. It's hundreds and hundreds of pages, and it's set in a dual timeline. So we're looking in the present, where something called the Red Winter has come back to terrorize a town. The main character had dealt with it beforehand. There's also something about the main character that imbues immortality. He's very, very old. He doesn't sleep. I don't think he eats. I could be wrong. Anyway, very, very good. Dealing with mythical creatures, folklore, and we see what led to the first Red Winter, whilst we're also leading up to the second Red Winter. Very, very good. We don't need a sequel to this, Cameron. It's fine as it is. But if you write one, I will read it. So yes, very much a yes. The Fireman by Joe Hill. My God, yes. 5 stars. I'd give it 6 if I could. Just incredible. People randomly begin spontaneously combusting all around the world. No explanation. And they decide that they're going to call this thing Dragon Scale. People start getting like lines of tattoos and golden tattoos appearing all over their body, so they've got it. But eventually we get to a camp where there are like-minded people, and the main character, who is pregnant at this time, she's taught how to channel it, and then she comes into contact with the fireman, who is able to wield the fire. Don't really know if the explanation for that fits with my brain, but this is just brilliant. I really wish I'd started reading Joe Hill earlier. And it 5 stars, 6 if I could give it, same as King Sorrow was. The Station Master's Farewell. Yes, but with a proviso. Only if you like Victorian settings, because these are part of the Railway Detective series, and I read my first Railway Detective book about 3 years ago. I picked it up in the works, and I love it. They are my palate cleansers. They are my comfort books. They're way outside everything I normally read. It follows Inspector Colbeck and Sergeant Leeming. They are partners. They are in Victorian London. They solve the first crime on the railway, and then he's dubbed the Railway Detective. So every time there is something, murder or whatever on the railways, they call for him. In this case, a well-beloved station master is found dead inside of a bonfire after the bonfire has been put out for Guy Fawkes Night. And we lead through various parts of North Devon, we go to Central Devon. So he's killed in Exeter, but we travel all around the area. Having lived there, it was a bit weird to see it in a Victorian context. Very enjoyable, very good. And I immediately followed that up with Peril on the Royal Train, which is the 10th Railway Detective book in the series. That one is a yes, but much less of a yes than the other one. For me, there were no royal elements until about 2/3 of the way through the story. And then once we were there, the ending was a bit anticlimactic, a bit flat, and wrapped up rather quickly. It's not very often that I don't enjoy a Railway Detective book to the max, because as I say, they are my palate cleansers. They refresh my mind for reading darker things. This one was just a bit flat and kind of fizzled out. So yes, but the other one was better. Glimpses, I had been waiting to read until I was told by the author that it was going to be coming. And it's so far a yes that I could probably be going yes for days at how much you need to read this book. So Deb, who writes under the pen name of Ian Benson, sent me this book. And we follow the main character who has the ability to, when faced with his own death, see every single outcome of that choice that he's making so that he can pick the right path so he doesn't die. So essentially he gets glimpses into the future and he can pick the path which merits his survival and the survival of the people with him. It's very, very good. The first couple of chapters will probably throw you because you are literally chucked straight into the action. But after the first couple of chapters, it really starts to resonate where the story's going. The action in this book is unmatched. I don't know how Deb does it, but she manages to write action like it's on the big screen. I genuinely think, Amazon need to be knocking on Deb's door to write the next Bond film, or Tom Cruise should be coming and starring in a movie of this book. The action is mad. I thought that with Deb's other book, Yesterday Pill, which was fantastic. This is so good. So very good. Yes, all day long. Go and pre-order it if you can. I don't even know if you can, but it comes out fairly soon, I think. So go and get it because it's so good. This was a arc that I got from NetGalley, which I'd only recently started, based on the recommendation, based on a video I saw by Sinead Hanna, who I follow on here, and she's amazing. Solace House, I'm going to say maybe to yes, because I really got into this book quite early and then was sort of left there for a considerable portion of the book, waiting for something to happen, and nothing was happening. And then when we finally got to the fourth act, the book is split into 4 parts. When we got to the 4th one, I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? I don't really follow this. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I think I know what's happened, but that doesn't seem to be what's happened. And then the ending was just garbage. The ending was terrible. So you have the main character who is at a university, posh university. Everybody's going away for the summer. He doesn't have anywhere to go because something's happened with his parents and he can't go home. So he's bumming around on campus and he's not supposed to be. He's got no money to pay the extra accommodation. And then he's thrown a lifeline by the university, and they're paying students to clean out an old mental hospital and a large mansion on the same grounds because they're going to use it for student accommodation. They're going to buy the land. Comes with accommodation, so Alex jumps at that. Away he goes. When they get into Solly's house, it's full of crap. The owner who used to be there was a hoarder, so every single surface, every single wall is covered in newspapers and junk and bottles and shit everywhere. And then the more they unravel, they start to find the old owner's writings, his diary entries, his documentation of his life in the house. It starts talking about rituals and caves and ways to enter another realm, and it sort of goes on from there. But yeah, the ending was terrible. Didn't understand it. Completely fell flat, and most of the book you waited for something to happen. I described this book as an event. It felt like I was binge reading all 6 seasons of Lost. So you get to the end and the ending doesn't either make sense or is very disappointing. And I think there's going to be a lot of contention about this. As Sinead said in her review of it, there's going to be a lot of contention during the summer when this book comes out, because it's has the potential to be very divisive. So I enjoyed it and was disappointed by it. Work that out. Last book I read, literally on the 31st. Yes, but don't expect big things. The Intruder was what I'm going to say generic thriller, right up until the 2/3 mark, which is usually when the twist in a Freida McFadden book comes. But the twist actually made me go, oh shit! And they haven't done that for a while. Freida's books have been a bit like this for the last 3 years or so. But yeah, it surprised me. And then the additional twist at the end I did see coming, but it wasn't disappointing for that to be the case. It was more sort of a heartwarming twist than a oh my god twist. So we've got this woman who is living off the grid in a cabin because she's done something as a teacher that's got her fired, but it's made, you're aware that it's been done as a protection style thing that she's been sacked for, rather than a misdemeanor or a bad thing to do with kids. There's none of that. And she is prepping for a storm, and in the flash of lightning she sees a face at the window, and it's a young girl that she finds in the shed hiding out, and things ensue in there. And it's dual timeline, so we see the before and the present in tandem, and it gradually knits together. What I will say is the before chapters are not what you think they are, and that comes into the fore when you hit the twist. So one of her better books that she's come out with in recent years, but again, not quite up to the level of when she started with The Housemaid. I know she wrote before that, but that's where I picked up her books. So yes, but keep your expectations sort of in the middle. And there we go, a 13-minute video of all the books I read in May and whether I say yes, no, or maybe to them. I didn't bother with the DNFs because obviously there would be a no. But yeah, I'm really knocking out the books lately, and I'm going to get straight on to, well, as many more as I can read in the next month. So see you next month.